Hello, my dear shining stars. How are you all? I hope you all are doing really very well. So, in our today's class, we are going to start our chapter number 13, and the name of this chapter is Guiding Lights. Okay, and it is also the theme of this unit. Okay, Guiding Lights. Okay, now what is the meaning of guiding lights? See, guiding light means a path, okay, which takes you to any kind of treasure and anything precious. Okay, so in this chapter, my dear student, you are going to see that two persons went to find out a hidden treasure. Okay, now my dear students, see, actually there is a myth around the world. Okay, in ancient times, many folklores or many songs are depicted to this curses. Okay, so it is a myth that in ancient time many kings put a curse on their treasure, that in upcoming future, okay, and throughout the eternity, and for eternity no one can find their treasure. It will kept hidden from all the eye of the from all the people's eye. Okay, so this story is somehow like that. Okay, now come with me and let's see the chapter. Be ready. It is a cautionary tale about the importance of ethical decision making and the dangers of succumbing to one's desires without considering the potential consequences. See, actually it is a cautionary tale which is going to tell you about how it is important to have an ethical and logical knowledge, okay, regarding any kind of decision making. Okay, never make any kind of decision in hurry. Always keep a logical thinking behind it. The characters relentless pursuit of the treasure leads to their downfall, as they are ultimately betrayed by their own greed. Okay, so in this chapter, my dear student, many characters are present. Okay, and you are going to see how due to their own greedy nature they faced their own downfall. Okay, now come with me and let's see the whole chapter. The canoe was now approaching the land. The bay opened out, and a gap in the white surf of the reef marked where the little river ran out to the sea. The thicker and deeper green of the virgin forest showed its course down the distant hill slope. Okay, now what is the meaning of canoe? Canoe means a small boat which can carry two or three persons only. Okay, so here you can see a small river boat was approaching in the direction of the land. Okay, and here a small area is opened where river is coming down, and from where river is coming down and joined to the sea area. Okay, the forest here came close to the beach. Far beyond, dim and almost cloud-like in texture, rose the mountains like suddenly frozen waves. Okay, so here, my dear student, you can see forests are present. Okay, forests are present, and here almost sunlights came in very dimly form. Okay, many mountains are stood there, and many mountains are standing tall here. Okay, so here you can see this is the picture, or this is the description of this whole paragraph. The sea was still safe for an almost imperceptible swell. The sky blazed. Okay, but you know what? This calm sea is safe for such a small boat. The man with the curved paddle stopped. It should be somewhere here, he said. He shifted the paddle and held his arm out straight before him. So here you can see, my dear student, these two person went to search a treasure. Okay, so one of them, the person who is handling this paddle, who is handling this paddle, he stopped and said, "See, from my point of view, this is the area." Okay, the other man had been in the forepart of the canoe, closely scrutinizing the land. He had a sheet of yellow paper on his knee. So on the other man having a yellow colored sheet kept on his knee. Okay, and he was observing the details mentioned in that yellow colored sheet in a very precise way. "Come and look at this, Evans," he said. Okay, so here you can see, my dear student, this person who is just handling this paddle. Okay, his name is Ivan. Okay, and that is another person. Okay, so this person called Ivan, you have a look here. Okay, come and have a look on this yellow colored sheet of paper. Both men spoke in low tones and their lips were hard and dry. Okay, now both of them are speaking in a very whispering tone. Then the man called Ivan came swaying along the canyon until he could look over his companion's shoulder. Okay, so Ivan came and have a look on that, and having Ivan came and have a look on that piece of paper. The paper had the appearance of a rough map. By much folding, it was creased. Yes, creased and on to the pitch of separation, and the second man held the discolored fragments together where they had parted. On it, one could dimly make out it almost obliterated pencil the outline of the bay. Actually, that yellow colored sheet of paper is a outline of that area. Okay, it was stored between two pages due to continuous creasing. Okay, due to continuous creasing. Okay, here said Evans is the reef and here is the gap. He ran his thumbnail over the chart. Okay, so Ivan said here by pointing out a particular area on that map. This curved and twisting line is the river I could do with a drink now, and this star is a palace. Okay, now Ivan is saying that this twisting line which is drawn in this map, it shows river. You see this dotted line, said the man with the map. It is a straight line and runs from the opening of the rift to the clump of palm trees. The star comes just where it cut the river. You must mark the place as we go into the lagoon. So, apart from Ivan, that another person, he said, okay, Ivan, you can see in this map, a dotted line is also present here, okay? And this dotted line, okay, this dotted line isn't straight, okay, isn't straight, is a straight in nature. Okay, and it shows the palm tree areas. Okay, means after some distance we are going to find out some lagoon. I hope, my dear student, you all know lagoon. Lagoon means what? Okay, a salt water. Okay, a salt water area separated from the main course of river or sea with the help of sand or rocks. Okay, so that portion called as lagoons. It's queer, said Evans after a pause, what this little mark down here are for. It looks like a plan of a house or something, but what all these little dashes pointing this way and that may mean I can't get a notion. And what's the writing? Okay, so Ivan, after taking a long pause, he said, but you know what? This map appears in a very strange full way. It means this map is very, very strange. Okay, in this map you can see an outline of a house is also drawn. Okay, and Ivan is also saying that I'm not able to get, okay, I'm not able to understand this map in a proper way. Chinese, said the man with the map. Of course, he was a Chinese, said Ivan. Okay, so another person said, I hope this map is prepared by a Chinese man. So Ivan said, of course, he was a Chinese. Okay, they all were, said the man with the map. Okay, so another person said, then another person said, all of them are from China. They both sat for some minutes staring at the land while the canoe drifted slowly. Then Ivan looked towards the paddle. Your turn with the paddle now, Hooker, said he. Okay, now after some time, Ivan sat down and he handled that paddle to another person. And the name of that another person is Hooker. Okay, so he said, Hooker, now it's your turn. Okay, now it's your turn. Take this paddle and start drifting this boat. And his companion quietly folded up his map, put it in his pocket, passed Evans carefully and began to paddle. His movements were languid like those of a man whose strength was nearly exhausted. Okay, now Hooker gave that piece of map to Ivan. Okay, and now he started paddling the boat, but he was looking completely tired or completely exhausted. Ivan sat with his eyes half closed, watching the frothy breakwater of the coral creep nearer and nearer. The sky was like a furnace, for the sun was near the zenith. Through there were so near the treasure, he did not feel the exultation he had anticipated. Okay, now Ivan sat with his eyes, which is half opened and half closed. Okay, now the sky is looking like a furnace. Furnace means a hot okay, a hot fire metal box. Okay, so that sky is looking like a furnace and the sun is blinking and the sun is glowing like a hot ball of fire. Okay, Though they were so near the treasure, he did not feel the exultation he had anticipated. Okay, although both Ivan and Hooker, okay, although both Ivan and Hooker are almost near to the treasure, okay, in which they came to this island, okay, but you know what? Ivan was not getting any kind of good vibes from this island. The intense excitement of the struggle for the plan and the long night voyage from the mainland in the unprovisioned Canio had, to use his own expression, taken it out of him. He tried to arouse himself by directing his mind to the ingots the Chinaman had spoken of. But it would not rest here. It came back headlong to the thought of sweet water rippling in the water and to the almost unendurable dryness of his lips and throat. Okay, see, Ivan was not getting any kind of positive vibe from this treasure hunt, okay, but you know what, he was continuously thinking about this treasure, and he was continuously thinking about those Chinaman who just kept hidden this treasure. Okay, at that time some sea water sprinkled on his face. The rhythmic wash of the sea upon the reef was becoming audible now, and it had a pleasant sound in his ears. The water washed along the side of the canoe, and the paddle dripped between each stroke. Presently, he began to doze. Okay, now he was still dimly conscious of the island, but a pure dream texture interwove with his sensation. Okay, you know what? Ivan have some idea about this island, but all time his conscious mind is giving us some kind of warning to him regarding this island. Once again, it was the night when he and Hooker had hit upon the Chinaman secret. He saw the moonlit trees, the little fire burning, and the black figure of the three Chinamen, silvered on one side by moonlight and on the other glowing from the firelight, and heard them talking together in pidgin English, for they came from different provinces. Hmm. So, my dear student, now here Ivan and Hooker, they are taking rest. Okay, they are taking rest, or although you can say they are going to sleep. Okay, and when Ivan fell asleep, okay, he was seeing a dream. Okay, he saw a dream, and in his dream, he saw that three Chinamen, means three men from China, they are sitting under the moonlight. Okay, under the moonlight, and they are talking in pidgin English. Pidgin English means broken English. Hooker had caught the drift of their talk first and had motioned to him to listen. Fragments of the conversation were inaudible and the fragments incomprehensible. Now Hooker signaled to Ivan that you have to listen what this Chinaman are speaking with him himself. Okay, speaking among themselves. Okay, but you know what? Their talking, means their argument, their conversation are inaudible to them, or you can say half audible to them. To them means what? Ivan and Hooker. Because all this thing is happening in the dream of Ivan. A Spanish galleon from the Philippines, hopelessly aground and its treasure buried against the day of return, lie in the background of the story. A shipwrecked crew thinned by disease, a quarrel or so, and the needs of discipline, and at last taking to their boats, near to be heard again. Okay, now you know what? From where this treasure comes? From where this treasure came? So it said that it came from the Spanish galleon. Now what is the meaning of Spanish galleon? Spanish galleon mean in 15th or 16th century, warships from Spain, okay, warships from Spain are called Spanish galleon. Okay, so this is Spanish galleons, okay, this is Spanish galleon, this is Spanish ship, okay, drowned in the sea. Okay, and the person who used to sail on that galleons, they are died, they all are died due to many different reasons. Okay, then Chang Li, only a year since wandering ashore, had happened upon the ingots hidden for 200 years, had deserted his junk and reburied them with infinite toil, single-handed but very safe. He laid great stress on the safety. It was a secret of his. Now he wanted to help to return and exhume them. Okay, now Now, when that Spanish warship drowned after a year, okay, a person named Changi found that treasure, okay, and he again reburied that treasure under the soil of that island because he don't want to share that treasure with anyone. Okay, now presently, and why he don't want to share with anyone, because he was much more conscious about treasure's safety. Okay, but after 200 years, okay, but after 200 years, now Changli wants to share this treasure with everyone. That's why he drawn that map. Okay, so the map which was holding in his hand, that map was drawn by Chang He. Okay. Presently, the little map fluttered and the voice sang, a fine story for two stranded British wastrels to hear. Ivan's dream shifted to the moment when he had Changi's pigtail in his hand. Okay, now this is all about the story. Now the dream of Ivan proceeded further. Okay, and for another moment, Ivan was holding the head of Chang He in his hand. The cunning little face of Changi, first keen and furious like a startled snake, and then fearful, treacherous, and pitiful, become overwhelmingly prominent in the dream. At the end, Changi had grinned a most incomprehensible and startling grin. Okay. Now, when Ivan was holding his head, okay, his face was looking very cunning. Okay, he was just looking like a, yeah, he was looking like furious, okay, like a furious snake. Okay, but you know what, after some moment, a very wicked smile came on the face of Chang He. Abruptly, things became very unpleasant, as they will do at times in dreams. Changi gibbled and threatened him. Okay, and now after some moment, Ivan saw in his dream that Changi was threatening him. He saw in his dream heaps and heaps of gold, and Changi intervening and struggling to hold him back from it. Okay, and in Ivan's dream, there is a fighting ongoing between Ivan and Changi, because Ivan was holding a bag full of gold, and Changi tried to snatch from that bag full of gold from the hands of Ivan. He took Changi by the pigtail, how big the yellow brute was, and how he struggled and grieved. He kept growing bigger too. Then the bright heap of gold turned into a roaring furnace, and a vast devil, surprisingly like Changi, but with a huge backtail, began to feed him with coral. Okay, and after this continuous battling, after some time, Ivan saw in his dream that Changi, okay, the face of Changi was started growing in bigger in size, and at a moment of a time, it blasted. Okay, and when it blasted, in front of him, a monster just looking like Changi was standing. Okay, they burnt his mouth horribly. Okay, and now they started burning the mouth of Ivan. Another devil was shouting his name, Evans, you sleepy fool. Or was it Hooker? And at that time, Hooker came. Okay, Hooker came to awake Ivan, and he was continuously calling his name, Ivan, you have to wake up, you sleepy fool. He woke up. There were in the mouth of the they were in the mouth of the lagoon. Now Ivan woke from his sleep, and now they are sitting in the mouth of the lagoon. There are the three palm trees. It must be in a line with that clump of bushes, said his companion. Mark that if we go to those bushes and then strike into the bush in a straight line from here, we shall come to it when we come to the stream. Okay, now Hooker is saying that there is a three palm trees. Okay, there is a three palm trees are present here. You have to mark their location. Okay, because it will help in our treasure hunt. They could see now where the mouth of the stream opened out. At the sight of it, Ivan revived. Hurry up, man, he said, or by heaven, I shall have to drink seawater. He gnawed his hand and started at the gleam of silver among the rocks and green tangle. Okay? Okay, now Ivan is saying to Hooker that hurry up, man, you have to hurry up because I don't want to drink this salty water. Presently, he turned almost fiercely upon Hooker. Give me the paddle, he said. Okay, now Ivan didn't want to spend a lot of time. That's why he turned in the direction of Hooker and instructed him, Hooker, just give me the paddle. So they reached the river mouth a little way up. Hooker took some water in the hollow of his hand, tasted it, spat it out. A little further, he tried again. This will do, he said, and they began drinking eagerly. Okay, now they both are feeling thirsty. Okay, that's why they both of them started drinking water. Okay, curse this, said Ivan suddenly. It's too slow. And leaning dangerously over the forepart of the canoe, he began to suck up the water with his lip. Now see, both of them are really very thirsty. Okay, that's why Ivan don't want to wait for a minute, and he started drinking water from the forepart of the canoe. Okay, now presently they made an end of drinking, and running the canoe into a little creek, were about to land among the thick growth that overhung the water. Okay, now after just fulfilling their thirst, now they are going to reach in the area of forest which is present in that lagoon area. We shall have to scramble through this to the beach to find our bushes and get the line to the place, said Ivan. We had better paddle round, said Hooker. Now both Ivan and Hooker started their journey, means they started riding their paddle, they started riding their boat with the help of the paddle as fast as soon, because they want to reach at that island as soon as possible. So they pushed out again into the river and paddled back down it to the sea and along the shore to the place where the clump of bushes grew. And here they landed, pulled the light canoe far up the beach, and then went up towards the edge of the jungle until they could see the opening of the reef and the bushes in a straight line. Okay, and at the end of the day, finally they reached. Finally they reached to that place where some bushes are grew. Okay, now they tie up their canoe at some places, and now they are going to see the opening of the reef area. Okay, now Ivan had taken a native implement out of the canoe. It was L-shaped and the transverse piece was armed with polished stone. Okay, now see, Ivan. Okay, Ivan taken out that map from his pocket, and in that map, a L-shaped, okay, a L-shaped curve was drawn. Hooker carried the paddle. It is straight now in this direction, said he. We must push through it till we strike the stream. Then we must prospect. Okay. Now, my dear students, see. First of all, they tied the boat at some area, but now they want to go further. Okay, and they can't go with the help of their legs. That's why they untied their paddle, untied their canoe, and again they started their journey. Okay, according to the direction which is mentioned in the map. They pushed through a close tangle of reeds, broad fronds, and young trees, and at first it was toilsome going, but very speedily the trees become larger and the ground beneath them opened out. Okay, and now they started going, and now when they started their journey to that island, they have seen a lot number of trees. Okay, and the size of that trees are grew higher and higher. Okay, the blaze of the sunlight was replaced by insensible degrees by cool shadow. Okay, now previously there was warmness in the environment, but now they are continuously digging in the area of the forest. That's why they are now feeling cold. The trees became at last vast pillars that rose up to canopy of greenery far overhead. Now trees are forming canopy on their head. Dim white flowers hang from their stems, and rupee creepers swung from the tree to tree. Now many white flowers they can see on their head. Okay, and many creepers. Okay, and many creepers are climbing from one tree to another tree. The shadow deepened on the ground, blotched fungi and a red-brown incrustation became frequent. Okay, and now the sunlight becoming dimmer and dimmer. Okay, Ivan shivered. It seems almost cold here after the blaze outside. Okay, so Ivan started shivering and he said, it is very cold here. I hope we are getting to the strait, said Hooker. So Hooker said, Ivan, I hope we are going in a right direction. Presently, they saw far ahead a gap in the sombre darkness where white shaft of hot sunlight smote into the forest. There also was brilliant green undergrowth and colored flowers. Then they heard the rush of waters. Okay, and after some time, both Ivan and Hooker heard a noise which is of water. Here is the river, we should be close to it now, said Hooker. Okay, so immediately Hooker said, I think there is a river. Okay, we should hurry in the direction of that river. The vegetation was thick by the river bank. Great plants are yet unnamed grew among the roots of the big trees and spread rosettes of huge green fans towards the strip of sky. Okay, so here vegetations are very thick. Okay, so in this area vegetation is really very thick. Many flowers and creepers with shiny foliage clung to the exposed stems. On the water of the broad, quiet pool, which the treasure seekers now overlooked, there floated big oval leaves and a waxen pinkish white flower, not unlike a water lily. Okay, now many flowers they can see are present in the riverside area. Okay, and many present in the forest side area, just like water lily type flowers. Okay. Further, as the river bent away from them, the water suddenly frothed and became noisy in a rapid. Okay, and after some time, again after some distance, now water started making a very much rapid sound. Well, said Evans, we have soared a little from the street, said Hooker. That was to be expected. Okay, now Ivan is asking, now what? Where we have to go? So Ivan said, from the straight we have to change our direction. Okay, I hope we are going in a right direction. He turned and looked into the dim cool shadows of the silent forest behind them. If we beat a little way up and down the stream, we should come to something. Okay, immediately Hooker turned and he said, if we are going in this if we are going in a right direction, then we are going to find out something. You said, began Evans. He said there was a heap of stone, said Hooker. Now Hooker is saying that there are a large number of heap of stones are present. The two men looked at each other for a moment. Now both Hooker and Evan, they are looking at each other faces for some time. Let us try a little downstream first, said Ivan. They advanced slowly, looking curiously about them. Suddenly, Ivan stopped. What the devil's that? He said. Okay, and after some time, immediately Ivan stopped and asked, "What's the devil's that? Means what is ongoing here?" Hooker followed his finger. Something blue. He said it had come into view as they topped a gentle swell of the ground. Then he began to distinguish what it was. Okay. Now Ivan felt that something is lying on the floor. Okay. So immediately both of them. Okay. Immediately both of them went to see what they felt on their feet. Hooker immediately said, "See, here you can see something blue colored. Something blue in color is present here." Okay, and when they saw, they are surprised. But what they saw? Okay, my dear students, so this is all for our today's class. Okay, so the next part of this chapter we are going to discuss in our next video. Okay, because this chapter is little bit lengthy. Okay, now what you have to do, my dear student, till then you have to revise the chapter which we have finished. Okay, now I'm going to meet with you in our next class with the same chapter. Okay, take care, my dear students. Bye.